Hi, I'm Melanie Walker, and this is How to Live a Life. How to Live a Life helps you with info and real-life experience on how to live your startup life, your eco life, your alternative life, and your learning life. We're kicking off our first startup edition with Boyza Dubasi's The Plug. So Boyza, Melville, very, very busy spot, has been for so many years, so many restaurants. What made you decide to open another one in this area?
As you said, Melville, iconic. I mean, I've been coming here since I was a teenager, and we had a place called the Baseline, which was a live jazz venue. I saw a whole lot of amazing jazz musicians there, like Zimlawana, who's like one of my favorites. I used to go there with my dad, so that element was always like amazing, you know, to have on the street. So I mean, me coming here and setting up a venue is just basically to try to build that community, bring that live music culture back, and to basically cater for an audience that I'm trying to target, a mature audience that love like music, culture, and good food.
Obviously, starting a restaurant, quite a risky venture, okay? How did you manage to convince people to actually put money into this? I mean, is this all your own money? Did you crowdfund, or did you get some investors?
Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can basically get money, you know what I mean? Especially if you have your business plan that makes sense, you've calculated all the numbers, and you can explain how you're gonna generate income, when you're gonna break even, all sorts of things. I crowdfunded through my friends. I was very fortunate that I've got people who were able to fund me and believe in my vision. Because I'm from the music industry, and they've been coming through to events that I've put together, and they believed I was the jockey to get this venue up and running and going, especially with what I'm trying to build, a community, live music venue, great music. And so I was fortunate that people came on board and supported me.
Coming together for your business plan, what kind of things did you have to take into account, considering that you are coming up against some big hitters here in this area when it comes to restaurants and music venues?
Okay, the backstory is that I worked in this space and I was managing it, so I was able to see a lot that was working, a lot that wasn't working, and when I put the plan together, I put that bearing in mind what was working, what wasn't working, you know what I mean? So I did my whole projections, put the food menu together, and a very important element is the roster, the music roster. And I've got a lot of people in the industry who can basically bring that element to the space in terms of entertainment and stuff like that. But the restaurant is a very important aspect of it. The kitchen has to be ticking. There has to be, you know, people eating here, meeting here, you know, working from here. So that's a big element, and everything else is just an added bonus. But restaurant is definitely the foundation of it. I want this to be the meeting place, the connection. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to restaurants, obviously there's a lot of hurdles and a lot of hoops you have to jump through to be able to get all the right licensing and everything. How difficult is it to do that here in Johannesburg? We hear some very interesting stories.
Very good question. Yes, it is difficult, especially in an area like Melville, because it's a residential area. We do have this is the high street with all the restaurants, but there's a community just a street down. Do you know what I mean? So to obtain like liquor licenses is very difficult, but I was fortunate that the landlord owned the liquor license. He was very smart, so I'm just taking over that liquor license. Do you know what I mean? But if that wasn't in place, believe me, it would be a process. It would delay because the residents association has to approve, it has to go through them. So there is, I mean, the main license, the liquor license would be the main
Stumbling block for a lot of startups.
No, for sure, without a doubt.
How are you getting everything together to make this into the place of your dreams?
I was fortunate to purchase a space that had movable assets that I could work with. Definitely there is going to be a lot added in future. You know, I've got all these ideas to add and make it a very unique space in the street, but I was very fortunate enough to purchase a place with furniture, kitchen equipment, and yeah,
Makes it a bit easier.
So much. I'm not going to lie to you.
But how do you go about sourcing the people that you're going to get to help you with, contractors? And
So I was fortunate the landlord had contractors that he's worked with. And then with suppliers, I'm going to have to build relationships with new suppliers. I've got relationships with other suppliers like alcohol, but food, I'm still new there. So I'm going to be, knocking on a lot of doors. Knocking on a lot of doors. And, working out terms, I guess.
why not go to banks? I mean, is it easier to raise the money from going in a more informal way rather than going the formal way of going to a bank and saying, I need a loan?
That's the last resort. I just feel I've got a network that can, if I present my case and they can see what I'm trying to do, they can invest in me. I mean, I'm not against going through to banks and stuff like that, but that for me is just the last resort. And if I need to, I'll definitely go.
So people are essentially not just investing in a business, they're investing in you.
Definitely.
So how do you sell yourself to investors and say, hey, I'm different to all the other people. This is why you should be investing with me.
Well, a lot of these people know me. They know my track record and stuff that I've done. But at the same time, they have to believe in me. And this is something I've always wanted to do. I've always spoken about that I love working with people, and I'm a people person, and I can make this work.
Okay, so
yeah.
if you're going to give advice to somebody who's thinking about starting up something like this, okay, especially in a busy area, what would be the best piece of advice that you could give to somebody who's wanting to get into starting something up?
Well, location, eh? Sure. I mean, this street is iconic.
What is your unique selling proposition?
I have this beautiful outside courtyard, which helps. People, especially when the weather is warmer, they like this sitting outside, this outside element. I don't know if I mentioned it, I'm going to mention it again. It's going to be a lot of comfort food, tasty meals, that the community can come and with their families and their children to come in and enjoy, you know what I mean? And then I'll have this live music element, but like a music roster that I'm going to curate from Wednesday up until Sunday that blends itself to the community, to the people around, and people that I want to be attracting. But there is one of my USPs that I'm going to add later is cannabis infused food. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no one does that. It's just something I want to add. That's just going to differentiate me, as I'm saying, together with the music, which is going to be part of the culture.
Apart from the liquor license, what were some of the other permits or hoops that you had to jump into to be able to make sure that you'd be able to open the place on time?
Yeah, I still go through that, but it's like, for example, for the kitchen, health and safety, we have to make sure that kitchen is spotless, clean, equipment is operating, and then you're going to have to get a health inspector to come and check that everything is operating accordingly, clean, to create food to serve patrons. And then obviously everything safe, health and safety, fire extinguishers are not blocked where they're meant to be in case, working with food, gas and stuff like that. Everything is basically in the right place, accessible, for my staff to, in case there's any emergency.
And then, of course, the public liability insurance, I'm sure that would be a big issue as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. So all of that has to be in order, plus insurance for the business as well, you know what I mean?
Now, when it comes to getting people to know about your business, what channels are you going to be using? I mean, is it going to be word of mouth? Are you putting it out on social media? What are you looking at doing?
Okay, social media has changed a lot for restaurants, for any business. These tools are available for all of us. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you do spend money on these platforms as well. Eventually, if you want to get it out to a larger audience. But these are tools that I'm definitely using. But word of mouth is still one of the best, I believe, especially in a place like Melville. Imagine people are talking good things about the place and it just spreads, you know what I mean?
has Google been your friend when it's been coming to putting all of this together?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even speaking with people, just speaking with people, people must go out there and ask questions. You know what I mean? I mean, I had to go to outside to find people. You have to go look for people who can be mentors, build relationships. These are people with vast amounts of experience. And I mean, even on this street, I'm connecting with a whole lot of people. So it's good to go out there and find people.
Do your research first.
Do your research first. Exactly. And I mean, with government as well, there's a lot of government agencies that they can help you put a business plan together, like CETA. I mean, there's a whole lot of incubations that are available. I mean, I even got a book called Restaurant for Dummies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which will list things. You know what I mean? It lists places, sites where you can go for information. And from there, I mean, once you get that ball rolling, I think things will happen. You'll figure out things. You'll learn things. Oh, wow. Websites, all sorts of things.
So from the initial idea and then getting excited about it and deciding to hit this hard, how long has it taken you from then to open?
Yeah, so everything's a process. So in terms of, I had to put the plan together and do my research on it, find out all sorts of costs and everything. So that was its own element and process. And that took a couple of months. And then canvassing and getting the investors or approaching them and proposing the plan to them. But it's a step-by-step process. Once you get one funder involved and he's excited, you move on to the next, and you know what I mean. So it's yeah. Welcome everyone to the Plug in Melville, 7th Street, and finally,
Well, we hope you enjoyed our very first episode of How to Live a Life. And you know what? Send us some of your comments right here. We do feed off of your energy. Remember, just hit that button and subscribe. We're searching South Africa for new startups, so if you've got a great idea, send us a mail on this address right here. And don't forget, you can also join us for our first Eco edition with Nick Hall and each on electronic motorcycles.